Africa. Why am I here in Africa? Well, because for 18 years I've had a dream to make a difference. Initially thinking that difference would be simply seeking out buying their best products from their heritage so that their heritage of skills would grow and we could develop it in the West so it would be appreciated. And by the skills and heritage, I mean those things which are totally primarily beautiful, aesthetically pleasing, have all the elements of the things that we probably have lost in the West, from which as well a lot of our art developed. So those products being there are attached to real people who need encouragement to keep making, selling those products. So that was the original idea, and it's continued to work. It didn't work in the full way I thought, which was to develop a whole range of fair trade shops that would keep on selling them forever. But it's continued to develop orders, and we've continued to develop workshops in village after village, right from the coast, west coast of Africa, right the way up through what is actually one of the main slave routes right into the desert. So that's not a done deed, but it's ongoing. But the main reason is because having started to search out those treasures which are hidden, not in darkest Africa, but in Africa that people don't bother to go to. Because it's not the same thing as tourism or safaris or any of that stuff. It's actually going to the real people in the real tribes, in the real villages, and a lot of hardship on the way to get to them, because sometimes have to walk or stay with them in very high temperatures, like all you guys have just noticed and done very well with. So seeking those things out, you've sought out at the same time what they actually want to solve their own problems. And it's not the same thing as we think. It isn't handouts, it isn't donations, it isn't pitying them because they're poor and we're wealthy, which is, I'm afraid I see through a great deal of our charitable expression is us and them. Is they are weak, we are strong, they are poor, we are wealthy, they're to be pitied, we're to be somehow arrogant in our sense that we've achieved these wonderful scientific breakthroughs and we can look after ourselves. When in fact, when you get down to the grassroots, I believe the opposite is true. They have an incredible sense of family, community, security of tenure in the land that they're not spoiling, we've spoiled it for them. So when you go back to those grassroots, that is desperately worth conserving in some way that appeals to them, not appeals to us. When you actually pin it down, there's very few things they actually need. Obviously they need clean water, they need a bit of help doing things like irrigation so the women can have horticulture, the men can have better agriculture. But in every place there are, in my view, very simple problems to be solved. The strange thing is they haven't solved them by themselves. And that's what I still had to ask myself. Am I coming as an ideas man? Am I coming as a scientist? Am I coming as an ecologist to say, I know what you need, I know what I can do to help you? Or am I coming simply alongside them in what by that time was 18 years almost, a long-term relationship of trust which could say, have you thought of doing it this way? And of course the strange, weird thing about the human species is we all haven't thought of how to solve the problem that's right in front of us because we expect somebody else to do it for us, and we have that the same in the UK. So there's like this blindness, there's like this veil that needs to be lifted so they see that if they only do this or tweak that or get a little bit of seed capital here, they could change the face of their whole village. Now that's all I've done, is to go and share those things at a level of equality, or sometimes even lower down, because I do a lot of bowing, but then they do a lot of accepting of me. So I'm like part of a family in a lot of villages. And when that happens, out comes these amazing African ideas as well as ours. You put them together and, in my view, you have a way of conserving the environments of the world. You have a way of organising organic agriculture in a way which could feed the world. You have a way of organising ethical trading and, dare I say it, the Homo socialist profit making, so that they can actually develop their own sense of sustainability and independence. All of that I've tried to put together in what is a strategy I now believe is the right one. Now obviously I'm obsessed with it, so you'll have to forgive me, I'm a psychologist who's obsessed with a dream. But as such, I want to test it out. So even on this trip, with what is in fact conserving or trying to conserve the idea of their music, the development of our music, which is into jazz and rock and roll and blues and anything else, we've just brought it back to them in a small cameo type way and introduced it back into the villages where the slaves came from, who took the music to USA and us in the first place. When you do that whole thing, you get a ring, you get a circle of life, you get an incredible no-ending Celtic knot that we've chosen with our Patapo symbol. You get something which links us all together and says, it's all good. So what we're arguing about, let's get on with it. So that is what I want these films to do. I think these guys making these films, I think it's just going to speak for itself. What I'm disappointed about is that up to now, after years of interviewing, talking to leaders, right up to MP level, ministers even lately, saying please get interested in us. Ghana Airways have helped us, but Tourist Board doesn't seem to have actually swallowed it yet, but I hope they do. Because when these films come out, when this live music comes out, mixing the whole lot together, it'll be so fresh, so new, so pioneering. I think loads of people want to do it. So that's why we're aiming at this being, this is simply a step, hopefully in the right direction. We've introduced what I think is the most incredible, revolutionary way for African young people to take their place in the world through this education program we've brought from America. There ain't no way they're going to have a better deal. The irony is, if they set it up here, US and UK will want it. They won't want to get left behind. So in that sense, it's absolutely beautiful what we're potentially doing, but we will desperately need initial support, and that's what we haven't got because we're too small. So the music and the films, and the virals, and what we're going to put out there on the websites and everything else together, and our visits to America when we're going to speak about it, I think that will punch a hole through the indifference. I think it'll upset people. It will make people aware how simple it is to actually organise development, not how wonderfully grandiose it is for us to save them. We're not doing that. We're together saving the planet. We're together saving our generation. We're together saving community that they still have and we need to learn from. Put all that lot together, you have a programme second to none. I don't know whether that answers your question. You got me going, didn't you? Just one question.